work, so we don't have to do nothing over and over again. All right, y'all. Hopefully that worked. All right, Smash Time and David Nash. Shout out to the chat room. I should have checked that and made sure that worked. Let me see if you guys in the chat room, if you guys can hear us just yet. I changed the little stuff back there in the background. He say it's on now. It's on now, brother. All right, hold up now. Hold up now. All right, so now hopefully we are all set to go. All right, welcome to the 90 Degree Show. I'm your host, Joe Beard. Happy to be of service for you. All right, we hope you are listening through iTunes, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, our website, our blog, or wherever you are on the interwebs. At the end of the broadcast, if you decide you like the show, then we appreciate a donation to the network. If you feel so in your heart, of course, just simply go to themarchingpodcast.com and click on the donate button to help improve the show and help build our scholarship fund. Tonight's show is brought to you by Block Band Music and Publishing, SAY Marketing and Promotions, blockusup.com, Kevin Peete of Remax Patriots, and Smokee O's Barbecue. We hope you enjoy the show. All right, and we go ahead and welcome our panelists. Shout out to Bridget. She wasn't feeling well, and I wasn't able to contact Ernest in time for him to do the show. So it'll be Rashad and I tonight. So I will, with our...
I heard Bridget came down with the cranks.
Yeah,
I don't know.
She came
with the cranks.
And, and the poster child for cranking is up tonight. The One Human Jukebox. So, those they don't mix. You know what I'm saying? That don't mix. So that's what's up. We appreciate all y'all supporting, and shout out to the people in the chat room for letting us know what's going on with the audio. Like y'all audio visual people. All right. So we welcome the owner, founder, editor, director of the male chorus. That's good that we could now get that in order. The Rashad Regal Waters. How you doing in this podcast, sir?
Fantastic, brother, and getting better all the time, man. Just ready to do this thing as we are just about wrapping up the season here. It's been a great season so far.
Yep, I totally agree. Looking like, we're looking at the volume there down at the bottom is volume 14 now. Well, 13. And then next week will be 14, and that will consider to be our ending week, unless we decide we do like an award show or an end of year show. I do want to get your take, and I want to discuss the ESPN, the Undefeated. They came out with that list that we were talking about earlier this year, and they came out with their final listing, I believe. So I wonder, we should go through that list just to see what our listeners think about it, or what you guys think about it. And then they posted like a clip from each band. You know what I'm saying? And they showed their ranking and stuff. So it's something that maybe we could break down at the end of the year to wrap up the 90 Degree Show. All right? So, again, thanks again for listening. Let's go ahead and get to it. We're going to be talking about the SWAC Championship with the Human Jukebox and the Sounds of Dynamite. And it was a zero quarter. You had halftime, and then there was a fifth. The fifth wasn't that long. But there was, tape of it out there. So we'll put it out there. And we hope you guys, like I said, we'll enjoy the show. So let's go ahead and pay the bills, as they say, for the first round. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about the zero quarter between these two beloved schools. All right. And then the winner, of course, of the football game then goes on next week to play the winner of the MEAC, which is North Carolina Central. Shout out to all the A&T folks. I was just playing. It is North Carolina A&T. Shout out to you, Christy. Oh, and congratulations, Christy. I think I saw that she finished her doctorate, her dissertation.
Dr. Walker.
Dr. Walker. No, that's a great name, Dr. Christy Rosa Parks Walker. I mean, that's gonna be great. I can't wait to see that. All right, so
in there already a CJ Madam CJ Walker.
Yeah, but Killa, she don't like that. I tried that joke one time and she didn't like that versus the Rosa. The Rosa Park. So I stick with Rosa. She didn't like that Madam C.J. Walker. You know what I'm saying? So.
If you add the Dr. Madam.
Right, Dr. Madam. we gonna come up with a name. We're gonna come up with a name, and then that'll be for Christy. But yeah, shout out to you, Christy, the good old Aggie, and they'll be representing the MEAG. All right. So let's go ahead and get to it. Let's play the commercial break. You're listening to the 90 Degree Show. We appreciate all y'all listening tonight. All right. So thanks again. We'll mute our microphones and come back with the show.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Block Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
The source for fair and factual information on your favorite college bands, blockusup.com. Well-written articles, in-depth band performance analysis, helpful resources for band directors, fun band-related topics, and exclusive interviews with some of today's brightest and most talented leaders of college marching bands. Visit us at blockusup.com, the meeting place for band fans and band directors.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
Yes, we are back, and welcome to Volume 13. We're here to talk about the SWAC Championship. All right. Excited about this because, I went to Jackson State, and those bragging rights for the SWAC football championship is just as much really close to a national championship or like a huge bowl game that we always hold up dear. And I'm sure that's pretty much for how we feel for all of our conferences. So it's good that we got the Celebration Bowl where we can have the MEAC play the SWAC. It would be cool if we had another one where maybe the SIAC would play the CIAA. That would be the bomb too. But anyway, the SWAC championship is some serious business. And I remember, I think it was during the 90s when they broke up the conference, like East and West, and had the championship. Anyway, it's turned out to be another band battle that we can talk about. So I will hand it over to you, Rashad, to kick it off. There was a 0 quarter, the halftime, and then the fifth. So I'll go ahead and let you start, man. What did you think about the 0 quarter there with the two schools for the SWAC championship?
All right, let's get it going. First of all, shout out to Killa Kev. Down, 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 bow, bow.
And it's a scream at the end. It's a scream at the end. You know what I'm saying?
That's what me and my buddies do. Anytime we're trying to do a scream, it's always.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, his camera work was so good. Like he was walking back and forth between the two bands. The football teams for Southern was warming up right there, so he couldn't stand right there in the middle. And I guess he chose not to stand on the end zone like a ShowTime Web. He walked back and forth, and he got so close to Alcorn's band. If he got any closer, bro, he would have had to put on a yellow leotard. I mean, he was real close. And it was amazing, the difference in sound. ShowTime Web obviously always does a great job as well. But I was really able to appreciate the sound even more because I was really able to hear everything that was happening with Alcorn's band from up close. I didn't need to get close to hear everything that was happening with Southern's band. And let me send a negative shout out to the announcer. Man, you were working my nerves, bro. You were working my nerves, man. He's like, all right, Southern, you're up next. Okay, Alcorn, how about you? Like, bro, we've been doing this for years and years and years before you ever even thought to open your mouth and say something. We don't need your help to tell us who's next. So let's keep it rolling. That was just annoying. Like Southern's band is sitting there like, Alcorn just played. Are we next? Anyway, so let's go on. So I got it all the way from the beginning thanks to ShowTime where Alcorn was playing all the way when Southern came in. I don't know what the first song I heard was. It was kind of a poor showing there. Let me see here. But it was when the tubas came in, at least anyway. It sounded kind of thin, but it was a good showing when the whole band opened up. And then the drummers started playing by themselves. And the first thing I thought is, why are the basses and tenor drums so far away from the rest of the drum line? It's like, I mean, it seemed like there was like at least three rows. Like, why not keep that drum line close together? That's not going to do anything but help them to stay locked in. The further apart that they are, the more possibility that you have for tempo delays and also just the percussion section not staying in sync. A lot of those drum lines in the SWAC, Joe, I'm not feeling them, man. I've said this before. I'm not feeling the fact that the snare drums are basically tuned to the same pitch as the tenor drums. So you really can't tell what you're listening to because it all pretty much sounds the same. I don't think you have to change your style of playing, but just tune those snare drums up a little bit, just a tad bit, so that they can cut just a little bit more, and you can actually hear more what the snares are playing. Southern marched in and they started warming up. They sounded really good for their warm up, actually. And then the very first thing that I heard from there is the song "Remember," and I was like, "Wow, they still play this!" Like, that song was great. Huge sound from Southern. God, it was huge, and it sounded good. Very good articulation. It's great stuff. Alcorn responded. Just wasn't it? And so basically, you heard what you're going to hear all night long. Alcorn responded. And they just weren't nearly as clean. They just weren't. They were trying to match Southern pound for pound, but in trying to match them, they were not playing with great articulation. And a lot of times, like the mellophones would be reaching, they'd be like diving off the cliff in order to get a note, and they would just be missing them. And this is what you heard pretty much all night long. Surprisingly, the trombones were out of tune on a lot of places throughout this. I'm not sure what was happening there because, again, you go back to Southern, you didn't hear that nearly as much. The trombones get it together. Southern responded. I'm not going to hit every song, but I got to get a couple. Southern responded with Mo Bamba. We were talking about that. We were talking last week about being in the stands and Southern hitting you with that sound.
That's yeah. That they were talking about that. I watched some of the Rogers brothers yesterday, and a lot of people were talking about that in the chat room in that show.
It may have been the loudest thing I've ever heard. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know, but it seemed like it was literally.
You can talk over the sound, man.
I mean, it seemed like it was literally overwhelming the mic. I mean, it was a sea of sound. It was so much sound. It was just amazing, man. The trumpets and the mellophones are playing together, so you could actually hear the mellophones. That's an idea. But when they weren't with them, the trumpets were just completely destroyed. And that happened all throughout the night. Again, the trumpets were just getting destroyed constantly. So let's talk about that. My main problem with Southern, I think their arrangements are pretty good. I think they articulate very well. I'm very impressed with their baritones' ability to hit those high B flats, high C's if you play treble clef, and make them sound like they're not high notes. That's impressive. And they sustain those pitches very well. But my problem with them is their balance. And this is something I've talked about several times with Southern. I've said last week that pretty much the trumpet section can just go ahead and start drawing on their 401k because they're getting destroyed. I just think that it's really not a matter of the trumpets playing louder, nor is it a matter of everybody else holding back. I just don't think they have the numbers right now. I think that if my man Garrett mentioned in the chat room last week that they have 44 trombones.
Yeah.
44. That is a lot of trombones. Good. That's a lot of slide grease, bro. And I'm wondering if they couldn't do without at least maybe 8. If they took 8 of those trombones off, so what is that, 36? Maybe that would make a difference. Maybe more than that. But I think they have so many trombones in order to keep up with all those euphoniums that they have. Because last year the euphoniums were so loud that the trombones could have retired. So I feel like they added trombones in order to keep up with that. And they added trumpets, but they still don't have enough trumpets to keep up with all that low brass. They just don't. I know that trumpet section they've just got to be playing, but that sound is just getting swallowed. So the trombone sound was constant throughout the entire night. It was swallowing up the whole band. And there was many times throughout the 0 quarter and in the 5th quarter where the band would finish a song and the crowd would be like, okay.
Right.
And it wasn't because the song wasn't loud. It's because they weren't sure what they listened to. I know that's how I felt. The only reason I knew the songs, Garrett was thankful enough to be able to provide me with the list of songs in advance. So shout out to you there, Garrett. But there's several times when I was listening to the song where I was like, oh, like I hear that now. But I couldn't, before, it was a song that I recognized, I should know, but I couldn't hear the melody. So I didn't know what I was listening to. So I know the crowd was several times had to be like, oh, that sounded good, but I don't know what that was. So we need to just get some more balance happening over there. Let me see. Southern played your song, "Wake Up in the Sky." You talking about "I Gotta Stay Fly"? I think it's Super Fly.
Gucci. That's my boy, Gucci.
Yes, sir. Great job. But again, on those baritones, sustaining those high notes. Great job on that. The song that Alcorn responded with after that was probably the worst thing they played all night. The microphone were playing, trying to leap for those high notes, man, and they just weren't missing it, bro. Articulations were bad. Baritones trying to hit high notes, they just weren't doing it. It just wasn't working. Let me see here. But you know, it wasn't a complete blowout. Alcorn definitely had some things. Don't get it twisted. It wasn't like Southern was just, you know, mean mugging them or just beating them down the whole time. I mean, they were going to beat them down because they were such a bigger band than Alcorn State was. But it wasn't like Alcorn State was just sitting there taking it. They were definitely playing some things back at them. Again, they're just the level of ability in their playing was just not matching up with what Southern was doing. Let me see. And again, with them having smaller numbers, there are some things that the problems stick out. The last thing I'm going to mention here is Southern's arrangement of "Heard It All Before." Man, that I loved it. And I was for everybody listening, I was talking to Joe about that song before the show. I always wanted to arrange that song, but I had no idea how to do it because the background is da 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 da. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
I was like, how the heck do I arrange that? You know what I mean? But the arranger, which I knew who did it, he did a fantastic job with it. Lots of cool things going on, lots of interplay in the section. Trombones actually had the melody during the chorus. Can you believe that? Wow. Like, I couldn't believe it because trombones always had the melody during the verse and then we forget about them. So good stuff. My only problem with that is there's another part is where the mellophones came in. The trumpets go, where you came from? And the mellophones, where you came from? But their answer was way too soft. Like they didn't deliver on that echo like they're supposed to. So, but again, overall, Southern definitely had the 0 quarter, no doubt. Intense playing, overall good articulations. It wasn't perfect now. A lot of times when the mellophones in particular and the trumpets were trying to get past all that trombone and baritone sound, in trying to do that, you could hear they were dropping bombs sometimes. Some of those notes were like, whoa, what did you just do right there? And like, instead of the mellophone section all trying to blend, it was one person be like, I'm going to be the one mellophone player that's heard. And then in doing that, yeah, we heard you. So focus on balance and blend. But overall, again, my main problem with Southern is they got to get those numbers right. They need to recruit for those numbers, and they might need to put a cap. Like, 36 trombones is all we're going to take. We just can't handle 44 because it doesn't work. But overall, great job to Southern.
Yeah, the biggest thing before I look and read my notes as far as me with the fifth quarter was I'm still Rashad.
What, the zero or the fifth?
I'm sorry, the zero. Thank
okay.
you.
Mm-hmm.
The zero still adjusting to our infractions. Let me give all our viewers. Let me give here. I'm working on a new graphic here, but you guys know me, and if someone does something that induces an infraction here, let's see what we got here. There we go. Look at the little dog. Give him the no red card, sheep. Give him the sheep. And that's a little something. So that works. All right, so y'all start seeing that a little bit here as we go through. Now, as we adjust this ratio here, shout out to Brother Payne and the dance to play ratio. We also have dance to chat or chant. I'm sorry. So like a chant ratio, we got a dance ratio, and we got a singing ratio. All right. The zero quarter, I've had to reassess, Rashad. I think that the zero quarter is worth, and it's okay to do a lot of the tuba break songs. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the stuff, even I think it's okay. Now, be careful with me now. I think it's okay even to sing and chant a little bit, and even dance in the zero quarter. Okay? Because it gets the crowd hyped, though. And I was watching the video. I think I was watching some of Garrett's and some of ShowTime's, but the football players was getting into it. So I was like, okay, now like that might be tight, where the band is playing hella rap tunes, and it ain't got nothing to do with musicality. That's all ignorance and crankage now. Because it's all about getting the football team hyped. Because, you know, they got to be like, oh, snap, hold up. You know what I'm saying? You got to get them ready. So this...
What good was it? But Southern couldn't have done a better job of getting the football team crunk and hype.
Well, this is true. But this is what I was going to say.
What did that matter?
well, this is what I was going to say, Rashad. It was... I thought the play calling came into play because Southern's... Their first song was like... They played like a song. They played a song. I can't remember the name of the song, but they actually played the whole song. Remember, okay? Alcorn responded with a song that had hella tuba breaks in it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then, like, to start the round two, because I divided my notes up this time with, like, the rounds, because I know pretty much everybody's like, oh, like, round two, I give this to so-and-so, so-and-so. So I did it like this time. And in round two, SU came back with a tuba break song. So I felt like Alcorn dictated the whole play calling as far as what was going to be played. Even though it was still about getting it crunk, I felt Alcorn was kind of dictating what was going along with it.
So Ernest would call an infraction on that.
Right.
Because he says if you do that, then you lose.
Right. You lose. Don't get away from, you know, what you normally do.
I don't agree with that, but that's what he said. So I want to make sure.
Right. Well, I mean, I dig that because I think I agree, and I said it too. Like, you know, when you play calling, you playing something, you got to follow what the other band is doing. You following them, you know. But I will say that, and this is kind of for everything, and this is kind of like my theme for the night. I don't know if Southern got up for Alcorn. Like, I don't know if this week or before they were already like, man, I hope we beat them so we could play A&T. Because I said the same thing a couple weeks ago, like, man, that'll be dope if Southern wins, and then it'll be a better band matchup. I wonder if Southern and their staff was like, I mean, it's Alcorn. We done seen them before. We not tripping off them. So I don't know really how much a heart of Southern was really in this matchup. You know what I mean? Okay. So I felt Alcorn was kind of dictating the songs in the zero quarter, but I mean Southern of course was cranking, you know what I'm saying? They were sounding, you know, more powerful and everything. But I think the main thing I was gonna tell you, man, I thought the tuba breaks and all that, I thought that was cool for the zero quarter. So like that I'm not ready to say so much as being penalized on that part. But it can affect, depending on how much you did it in the 0, how much you can do in the 5th. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole nother thing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. I'm trying to see if there was something specific in my notes that had came
But Joe,
out.
Sometimes, man, it seems to me like they put tuba breaks in songs that don't even need them. Like they play actual songs, and they put tuba breaks in them. Like that song I was just telling you about. They heard it all before.
Yes.
They put tuba break in that. Like just play the song. So, it's fine.
So I'm glad you said that, Rashad, because that was the note that I had on Southern. That they had songs that was just totally unnecessary. Like they were playing songs. I have no idea if Alcorn played an actual song at that day. From all the video I seen, they didn't play any song. They had a tuba break for everything. SU didn't, and then of course, and we'll talk about in the 5th later, they opened up on them. But exactly what you should say. They had parts where it was just totally unnecessary, and it wasn't even that many counts of the tuba break. You know what I mean? Like, well, why did you even put that in there? Just like what you just said. So, that was the main thing that kind of jumped out to me. But again, I'm still halfway judging, like, was Southern really getting up for this game? Like, were they even tripping this past week in practice? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm wondering. Because I felt like, I don't know, I ain't gonna lie, I feel like they were already looking past Alcorn. Like, they were trying to mentally prepare for A&T. Because it just wasn't, it was Southern, but it wasn't like Southern, it wasn't Southern trying to blow them away. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was Jackson State, I think they would have had a different showing. You know what I mean?
But I don't think they got caught slipping though.
No. I don't think it was like that. So I mean, I gave the 0 quarter to Southern just because they sounded better, and they were able to respond to the crunkness. They had some tuba breaks too. I thought Alcorns had some dope little tuba parts. I mean, I like what they were playing, but I don't know, man. Alcorn to me, like, they were setting it up where, like, they didn't want another Southern in the stands. So they did all the dancing, they did all the hypeness, you know what I'm saying, to kind of mask up when it's time to start pulling out your book. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I recognize. Yeah, I think I got some other notes, but I think you kind of covered a lot of stuff that I was saying. But yeah, I thought Alcorn dictated the play calling.
On the note of like tuba stuff, Alcorn had this one song right before Bystanders that Southern played. It was like like it was interesting how they did it. Like the third lick was very different than the first 2 licks, and they went down to like a F. I think it was like F, A flat, C, and then back up to F again, and then they ended with a descending run, which I thought was creative as far as the arranging was concerned. I was disappointed by how the tubas played it though. Like they would like they played the high notes fine. I'm actually singing the bass line to Mobama when I sing that. But anyway, they played the high notes fine, but anytime they got down to the actual medium notes, because they weren't low, it was just it didn't come through as well. I feel like the arranger or the director should have beat them. Encouraged them a little bit more to get them to play those notes out, because it was a very well written bass line, I thought.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, I was trying to look and see if there was anything else. Shout out to the folks in the chat room. I give you guys a round of applause. Appreciate you guys. I'll see. Let me go in the chat room and see what the guys is talking about in the chat room here. Somebody agreed with me. Who is that? Smash Time. What's up, Smash Time? Smash Time. Another videographers. What's up, y'all?
Right.
Said that he realized that SU has all them songs from the Bayou Classic that's never been played outside, so no need to prepare. That's a good point. Tuba break ratio is limited to 1 song per quarter. Yeah, what's up, A1 Story? Yeah, we got to work out the parameters, my brother. We got to feel Because I counted, and that's another thing too, Rashad. This zero was kind of long. Like I counted, they did about like 7 rounds, and it was like about like 30, almost 40 minutes or something like that. So I think
it was 15 songs.
Yeah. So I'm already trying to think like how many rounds is the average zero quarter? Based on that, how many chants can you do? How much dancing can you do? And how much singing can you do? Now, the singing, probably, Rashad, I don't know if I can go with the singing.
Okay.
If the chants are cool, because, like, Southern, I think that second song, I don't know, is, and I'm really, really rich. And I'm really, really rich. They did that song. And that was crunk. But
that's Obama, wasn't it?
Is that what that is? Yeah, okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, I always wanted to know what that song was, man, because I hear it on the radio all the time. But man, so yeah, I've heard that a lot this year, actually. But yeah, a lot of people were talking about that on the Rogers Brothers. So yeah, that song they were chanting to, and I've heard them play that song this year before. That's okay for the zero quarter, Rashad. But
okay.
You know, you start going up in there, you start singing the song. I don't know. They both walked that line. Alcorn, they went way past it for the zero. So hopefully, and you know, I don't want to let anything out. Hopefully, they didn't do that for the fifth, because immediately if they start that mess in the fifth, they automatically get an L. All right, because you done bust up the ratio already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's very, very important. All right, so.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Joe. I don't think, in my time, I marched with Hampton for 5 years. I don't think we did not a single chant during the fifth quarter. Not one time. Right. That's perfectly okay for the game. You know what I mean? That's what that's for. But during the fifth quarter, nah, I don't think that's appropriate.
Yes. Now at Johnson C. Smith, shout out to all the people at Johnson C. Smith. I'm not joking about that, and I'm not dogging Smith, but we didn't have any fifth quarters at Johnson C. Smith.
Okay.
And I think we may have had one, from what I remember, but I don't think another band was there. So we didn't have, you know what I'm saying? So we didn't have what you talking about. Like, we didn't even have like that option. You know what I'm saying? So.
Did you have a fifth quarter against Dudley?
Ooh. No, they pretty much came during the game. You know what's funny? You say that they came during the game, showed out in the stands at the game, and then they did their halftime show after, because you know we did the halftime show, and then they did that halftime show after the game, and we was like, oh, you know, all off of a high school, of course, and then we used some of their stuff and they show in our show the following week.
Of course.
So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's just something, just the good old memories, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's what we had to do, and I know that a lot of times, and the reason why I brought that up, when we went somewhere, we couldn't just automatically start cranking tunes, so we had to dance. So the drummers would start busting something up, and D Lakes, shout out to Derek Lakes, Chris Jones, and Brad Mobley. All right, they were our 3 drum majors, and they would take turns doing a dance, and then we would just catch the flash on the next 8. So, you know, somebody would do something like 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the rest of the band would do it. So that's how we entertained back at Smith, Rashad.
Yes, okay.
But yeah, so I mean, that's how we had to do it, because we didn't really know too much music. You know what I'm saying? So when I see that now, I just always like, man, y'all are too big or y'all are too talented to be just dancing so much or chanting so much. Play something. Play a song. You know,
and plus, y'all weren't aware of the rules at the time.
And
you know?
that is correct as well.
The 10 Commandments hadn't been brought down from the mountain
had not
quite
been
yet.
brought down yet, brother. That is exactly right. So, yeah, we got toe up at Smith. But I love Smith, man. I love John C. Smith, man. Great university, great school. All right. So that was the zero quarter. I think we pretty much agreed on that. Let's get into the meat of it. Halftime. Rashad, what you think about the halftime show with these two? And then we will do the commercial break and come back and talk about the fifth and close out the show. So what you think about the halftime, man?
I'm just glad that there was an announcer up there saying, "All right, Alcorn, it's your turn." Let's see here. They started out with the drum major entrance, which I thought was very uniform. So good job to you guys on that. I thought the opening formation, as far as the drill was concerned, was attractive. Looked good on that. But they played this fanfare, the Rise Again drill. I mean, the Rise Again fanfare. I didn't like that. It was way too simple. It was just like a simple chord progression. Like, it's just, I don't know. It rose again because the chord went down and the chord went back up again. Like, do something better. I thought the marching overall was very good. Again, I'll say this again. I'm sick of step twos. but yeah. I'm waiting to get to the point where we can add doing continuous step twos as an infraction. I mean, if we did that, then pretty much almost every band in the SWAC would be eliminated.
So you only have so much of a step two per year. You can only do so many step two drills per year, and then you got to incorporate something else. You might have something.
There you go. And I'm not saying that you can't do a step two at all, but when I say step two drill, basically when you're making straight lines and then you're trying to form the continuous X's and making them move across each other and you're facing downfield the whole time, that's a step two drill. And we're sick of it. Sick of it. Joe, I thought about you during this. I'm sorry, when you were giving more parameters for the rules. Go ahead on that.
No. That was pretty much good. We had to work out like how much. Like, is it a time thing, or is it like your intro? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we got to work out how much of the step two it is.
Exactly. Yeah. I thought about you, Joe, again watching this show because the announcer said, and there it is. The ASU, and I was like, Bizarro State. I know Joe is going after that.
So Rashad, let's take some time to talk about that, and we definitely. So just so people know and understand, Bizarro is a comic book character. Now, what's really cool is Rashad could probably give you the history and the details behind Bizarro. But Bizarro is the dude that looked like Superman, but he like evil and he like dark and he dirty and stuff. And he
and his ass is backwards.
Right. And he don't have good posture like Superman. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, but he got his powers and stuff. Now we see that all the time where we have like a mirror image come out and they know all your moves, and then like you got to figure out how you going to trick yourself in the mirror, and it's a fight between self and identity, all this. Well, this is what Alcorn is. And this is what people have to understand. When I say Bizarro State, we're talking about the fact that Alcorn just wants to be Jackson State. That's just at the end of the day, that's what happened. So they're not as good as Jackson State, so it's like when you go and you can't afford like the 7 series and you get the 3, or you know what I'm saying? Like you getting the 3 series for your child when you get the 7 for yourself. The Alcorn is the 3 series.
It's like when you have a perfectly fresh, brand new document, and then you make a copy of it, and then you make a copy of that, and then you make a copy of that. And by the time you get, 6 or 7 copies down, you got stuff missing.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. That's true. All in that transition with the copies is Alcorn. That's what they do. And they would love to be the Sonic Boom of the South. Now, they'll tell you they're better than us and all that stuff like that. But you said it, Rashad. And if anyone saw that halftime show, y'all know what that ASU looked like. Come on, y'all. Y'all know what it looked like. And we've been having this discussion for years. So,
Well, for all due respect, I wasn't really talking about the formation that they made so much as he said the ASU.
Oh, okay. Well, see that too. And see, you add no. See, Rashad. Now we got to add the. Now Alcorn saying the Alcorn. You know what I'm saying? Come on, Alcorn. Get your Now, I'm here to tell you, with the Indian thing, y'all got your own thing. Y'all could start coming up with more Indian stuff. So that's what y'all need to do. Y'all creative department need to go out and learn some Indian stuff. Y'all band director, go do some Indian stuff. And then come back and incorporate that, and then y'all will have an identity. But until then, Bizarro. You know what I'm saying? But I digress. Go ahead, Rashad.
Native American. We got love for all of our Native American brothers. I got a little bit of that in me myself.
We probably all do. You know what I'm saying? We probably all do.
Let me see here. God, what the heck did I put on here? I like the back. Oh, I like the back bends. Yeah. So when they got to the Dance Girl song, I like the back bends that the girls did. I kind of feel like the girl that popped up at the end and did the split, I feel like she maybe did it too early or something. Maybe she didn't. But what I noticed is after she did that pop up, there was like almost like a half second before they went to the next move. And it seemed like it would have felt better if they all did the back bends and then the pop up. And when she came back down, okay, let's do the next move. You know, it just seemed like it would have felt better. The trumpet runs in this song, I could hear them, but they were completely lost. And overall, just in general, compared to the rest of the brass section, the trumpets were just they were just lost completely. Poor babies. Then they went into the dance routine, and their whole dance routine. First of all, they brought out two girls. And they called them the ghetto dancing dolls. And I just thought it was dumb because if they hadn't said ghetto dancing dolls, I wouldn't have attributed them to acting like or being like the dancing dolls in any way. Like they weren't dressed like them. They didn't look like them. You know, it was like only thing they did was they just they took out two members of our band, of their band, that weren't particularly all that big. I mean, they weren't little girls, but they weren't really big girls, you know. And they brought them out and they put on T-shirts on them and they said, "Oh, these are the ghetto dancing dolls." And then it was like that was just dumb to me. And then they brought like how many was it? It was like 6 or 7 guys, maybe more, and pushed them on the ground. What type of image? What type of image is that?
Okay, so see this, Rashad. We have to talk about just 1 second.
This is what you're talking about right here.
And I had the exact same, like the notes. Like, what the hell are you doing, Alcorn? First of all, the hitting the girls on like brother, like you remember, Rashad? You were talking about just having some layers about some stuff, and I had earlier on this year when we did this thing right here. I used to have that monkey, you remember? And you said, right. And you were like, "Yo, man, you know, you might need to rethink that because it might be harmless, but still." So nobody thought that in the band room all week. Like that probably wasn't smart. Now the right. Friday.
Joe, particularly this year, of all years.
And then Rashad, then Friday, the boy from the Chiefs, the running back, like, he gets in trouble and it's on video. So he done got kicked off the team on Friday. It's a video came out where he punching a girl and kicking a girl, and that came out Friday. Didn't nobody from Alcorn have the internet or the news on that Friday? Come on, Alcorn. Like, seriously. So that was like, oh, okay, like, I don't even know, like, that's kind of L-ish. Like, you gotta, that's kind of an L right there, like, where you didn't understand it. Then the other part, like what you just said, I didn't get the ghetto dancing dolls, because out of all the stereotypes that we talk about each other, nobody ever says the dancing dolls are ghetto.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you never say, like, I hear that they say the J-sets might be ghetto sometimes. But I don't ever hear dancing dolls ghetto. So when he said, "Oh, the ghetto dancing dolls," and it's just like that's horrible. And then they like, oh man, like, and it's just like that's what Southern would do. Like Southern would bring some people out and dance. So it's like Alcorn still copying people on their own show. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man.
maybe they could have said the bougie dancer dolls. Like you hear more about them being like maybe more stuck up. But I've never heard anybody ever say that the dancer dolls are ghetto.
Way to go, Alcorn. Y'all messing up already, Alcorn, and I'm rooting for y'all too. But
what is it? I don't know where it came from. It's like, congratulations, you played yourself.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So they did this, and then they didn't have, not that I could see. I mean, I don't think the whole band was dancing, so the entire thing was based off of them doing that, them pushing the girls down. 7 guys came out and danced, and that was the end of the dancer team.
The end.
I'm just trying to think. You know, Joe, I'm just trying to think, like, let's say you were in the band and your mom is coming to the games. You know, she wants to hear her baby is in the band and they made it to the SWAC Championship. Oh, I love y'all shows, baby. I like how you made the Alcorn on the field. What are y'all doing this week? Well, Mom, we're going to have 2 girls come up and then we're going to have 7 guys push them on the ground and they're going to dance and then we're going to march off the field.
Right.
You joking, right, baby? You joking, right? Like, that was Alcorn. That was very poor planning. In addition, I was also disappointed by the fact that the Dance Girl song was so long that it made it like the drill was short and the dancer team was like 30 seconds long. So the pacing of the show was really poor. It's like they should have made the Dance Girl song should have been shorter so they could have done a longer dance so the whole band could dance, or maybe the drill could have been longer. But it was just a bad show for them. I think they executed well. I don't think they sound all that. I still don't think Alcorn sounds all that great. I think they march well, but they have a lot of work to do when it comes to sound. But the show planning was poor.
So what did you think about Southern in the halftime
All
show?
right. So Southern came out on the field. And they marched. They did a drill to Street Life. I don't know who that's by, but Street Life. That's a man. Street Life.
It's been like remade like 8 times. So I done lost track of how many times that song done remade, man. Who was the original by?
I don't know. Sesame Street. Is that the monkey?
No. We have some layers here.
You brought the monkey back out of retirement, Joe.
No. We got some layers here in management. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So anyway, I thought it was interesting how when they first started their drill, how the individual sections would flip really fast. I thought it was a really cool effect. It looked a little sloppy, honestly, but I thought the effect of it was like really cool. Like, okay, here these guys come and they're gonna turn and they're gonna do that thing. Like, that looked good. I don't think I've seen that drill before. I don't think I have. And I thought it was really good. A matter of fact, I wrote down the drill is beautiful. I thought it was very well executed. I mean, to maintain straight lines that are literally all across the field like that, that's not very easy to do. And I thought they did a very good job of that. I thought they did a good job with that. Again, I'm tired of step 2 drills, but I find myself kind of backtracking sometimes when it comes to Southern because they're just so good at them.
Yep.
I did not like how they stopped and took a knee and played for like 4 seconds and then went back to doing what they're doing. It just, that didn't flow at all. Like, they should have stopped and played longer. Or matter of fact, they shouldn't have taken a knee. It sounded like what they were trying to do is that we're always saying, hey, the problem with Southern is that the sound always faces, the end zones. As a matter of fact, I was talking to, so we had the whole show about Southern versus A&T, and I was talking to one of the guys at A&T, and I told him, what we thought and what the advantages of each band would be. And he brought up the point that I'm surprised you didn't bring up, Joe, which is the fact that one advantage that A&T has over Southern is that A&T faces the front the entire time, versus Southern always faces downfield for their entire drill. So even though Southern is a much bigger band and a much louder band than A&T, all of that power is for nothing is for naught because you lose all of it. So I felt like what they tried to do is let's stop for a second and give you some of that sound. And it was very powerful. Like, it was very noticeable.
It was.
Maybe they shouldn't have taken a knee. Maybe they should have just stopped and turned and played, you know, and marched for like 8 counts in place and then went back to their drill. It just, the effect of it took away from the drill to me. I think I see what they were trying to do, though. They did the same Dance Girl song as last time, which was Rhythm of the Night. It doesn't seem that tight at the beginning, and I think it was because I feel like the song was going way too fast. Like, I feel like they were really trying to get everything in as far as this show was concerned, because they only had 7 minutes. And what we really need to do is we really need to band together in order to get these shows back to 10 minutes again. Like, we really need to get all of these football conferences to allow our bands to go back to 10-minute shows. It's ridiculous that we're trying to force our bands that spend hours and hours and hours practicing, and you're spending literally millions of dollars on them to put them on the field for 7 minutes. That's ridiculous. Like, the school is not getting the return on the investment like they should. And so this is how you suffer. You play a song that's good, but you have to play it too fast. And then so the song is not as good. Let me see here. The B section of the song, Rhythm of the Night, was much better than it was last week. It wasn't too bad for the tempo. I remember I hawked on it last week, but this week it wasn't too bad. The dance routine, I thought that they had some very high energy moves. Let me see here. But I didn't like how everything came together. Like, the dance routine, just the music in the dance routine, it was just very random to me. Like, so there's a lot of stuff in Southern's show that was random. Again, the turning around, taking the knee, the order of the dance songs, it didn't flow. I'm going to always go back to the show, the first time I saw them do the Diamonds. And I think it was Come and Ride the Train that they played. And they went from that into Elevators and then went back into that. And it's like, it almost told a story as it went. And the dance got hyper and hyper until at the very end, again, we talked about it last week, come on, watch Southern do a ballet. You know? And I, as a little kid, as a teenager, I was like, oh my God, like, I knew I wanted to be in a show-style band at that point. They did such a great job of making that flow, and that's not what I saw when they did the boxes this time. I just saw, here's one song, here's another song, here's the same song again, and then here's the third song. Like, it didn't flow. And then we talked last week about the fact that it seems like right before the show, they're randomly picking up somebody to come and dance at the end. And sure enough, that's what they did, because it wasn't the same 2 people that danced last week. Right. It was two other people came up there and danced, and they just, I don't know, I'm sick of it. To channel Janelle or Bridget, I'm over it. Like, Southern, you're good dancers. The thing I like about Southern's band is that they get up there, they're clean dancers, and they don't spend all day dancing. You know, their dance team's gonna be like 30 seconds long, and they're gonna get off the field because they impress you with their drill and playing and everything else. Y'all don't need this constant thing of bringing these people up. Like, maybe once a year, maybe if you're bringing up the white dude or the fat dude or whatever you're going to do, maybe once a year is fine. But I think we've seen it like 3 or 4 times this year. And it's just, come on, just dance. Just do your thing. You're a good band.
And that's to me like their Achilles heel right now. Like, yeah, they hit you in the face with the sound, dope drill. They cranking with the dancing dolls. Dancing dolls are good, but then it's like it's a fall off. You know what I mean? Like, when I see them nowadays, when I see them go into that formation where they're dividing up into the 4 boxes, I don't even care what the boxes do. Like, I'm like, I already feel like, oh, okay, like, I feel like I've already seen that show, no matter what they do or what they play. And I still watch to see what they're doing, but like you said, man, and I think Garrett said they hadn't done the boxes in a long time, but I'll let you finish your point about the halftime, but yeah, man, I don't think Southern was really thinking this week at all. They did not care what they put out there this week.
I agree. I agree with that. And if they took that again, based on what we were talking about last week, if they took that show against A&T next week, it would have been a loss. It would have been a loss for Southern. It was a very well executed show. They drilled very well. They played very well. the band itself did everything right, but the show planning, particularly when it came to the dance, it didn't flow. The dance routine did not put the exclamation on the end of the show like it should have.
Right.
So if they can get that back together again, well, I guess the season is over. But when they start the season next year, let's go ahead and get that last part back down again. But overall, I'm going to give it to Southern, absolutely. Alcorn did a decent job, but I thought Southern is just in a different ballpark altogether. But I didn't think either show was planned out very well.
Yeah, I was kind of struggling as far as who I was gonna give it to, because I felt like some infractions had happened. Like I was not, like I said, I did not like Alcorn's what they did with the girl, like when they brought out the girls or whatever, and they were, and I saw they were copying Southern, so I was like, hey, that's what Alcorn does. So I gave them props for that, and like I said, they've looked better this year on the field than a lot of recent memory that I have of them. So they look okay even in their drill. They weren't as precise as Southern, but they looked pretty good. They did a good job. But once they got into that ASU, it just made me feel like, man, like you guys really need to come up with your own thing. Now, shout out to Smash Time in the chat. He said he believes that Alcorn has its identity, and yes, they do. They copy other people's things. That's what their identity is. So yeah, you are 100% right. But sometimes that gets on your nerves. You know what I'm saying? So it's always like, all right, well. So I felt that they had a good show other than the part with the dudes and the girls. Like that part, like messed stuff up. But I thought they had a good drill, and I thought they showed up with Southern. All right. Now, as far as Southern is concerned, like I said, man, I honestly think they were honestly like, man, we want A&T. You know what I'm saying? We've already dealt with Alcorn. And you know how Southern folks is anyway. They felt like, you know, they the best at everything anyway. So I honestly believe that even in their preparation, like they did the pinwheels and they got down on one knee, that was like the coup de grace of their drill. And that's like, that's nothing for Southern to do. I just feel like they wasn't tripping off Alcorn. You know what I mean? They wanted A&T. And that's what it felt like. That's what their show was. That's what it looked like to me. Shout out to Killa Kev in the chat room. I just want to say shout out to him because you gave him props earlier on in the show, and I think he just got on.
Okay.
But yeah, shout out to you, Kev, and all that you do, and all you HBCU videographers, Garrett, and also Marching Sport, Gerard Howard.
Killa Kev didn't hear that. Wow.
Yeah. Do. Woo, at the end. That's dope. That's dope.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to make sure that he went back to the beginning of the show so he could hear the wow.
Yeah. And it's got a little bass in it too. If you like when you listen to it with headphones, like when I listen to stuff with headphones, it's got a little thump. Got a little thump in the little Kev. Now what would be dope? Super dope. Is if a band saw Kev up there and then they crank that. Ooh, that would give them some huge props. You know what I'm saying? They say, there go Killa Kev, kick off Killa Kev, and hit it at the end. That would be dope. You know what I'm saying? If he had somebody to do that. So, shout out to you, and shout out to all you guys that allow us to do the show like we doing. All right.
I see he put on there that's a real trumpet. Yeah, I was wondering about that because you can definitely tell it's keyboard sounds until that trumpet comes in. Like, how do you do that? Like, how did he? It sound like I'm wondering, like, is the keyboard that realistic that the trumpet sound at the end sounds like a real trumpet? So I guess maybe he filtered it in or something like that. Yeah. Maybe he'll put in the comments how he did it, how he mixed the keyboard sound with the real trumpet sound.
Yeah, that's pretty dope though. I mean, it's pretty dope. So shout out to him, and so you said you gave it to Southern. I pretty much agree with everything you said, man. Like I say, I just felt like Southern didn't show up, and Another thing I tripped out was one thing that I've always liked was our drum section, WT, when they're doing the, J-Set feature, usually they bob their heads and the plumes shake, you know what I mean? Like the snare drummers, you know what I mean? So that's kind of something WT does. Alcorn's drum line was trying to do that, you know what I'm saying? Again, trying to copy. And it wasn't tight. You know what I'm saying? Come on, Alcorn. But yeah, man, I think I agree with you. I don't know. I don't know if I could give it to Southern because you still got to show up and do something. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. It's tough to say that they lost because we all know that they could have done better. Do you know what I mean? But, yeah, that's just, I guess, how I felt with Southern. So I can't really say who won, man, to be honest with you, because I just don't think that was Southern that we saw. All right. Let's go ahead and pay the last little amount of bills, and we talk about the fifth. The fifth was pretty short, the video that I saw. But we'll go ahead and talk about them, and then we'll wrap out the show. Next week, we will be discussing the Celebration Bowl, so that should be fun. So now we have our Celebration Bowl now. Alcorn, Sounds of Dynamite, is going to go up against A&T. A&T is going to slaughter them on the field. Oh, wait, hold on, wait. I'm going to wait. Let me get to the end. I get your predictions at the end, Rashad. I got too far ahead of myself.
Okay.
But, yeah, we'll do that at the end. Okay, so let's go ahead and pay the bills, and then we'll come back and talk about the fifth. And then, Rashad, I want you to, just like we did last week, what were your predictions of the Sounds of Dynamite against the Blue and Gold Marching Machine? All right?
Okay.
So go ahead and mute your microphones. We'll pay these bills, and we'll come back. Again, thanks for listening, and shout out to everybody in the chat room. You listen to the 90 Degree Show. We'll be right back after the commercial break.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
Hello, everyone. This is Joe Beard from the Marching Podcast. Is your school, club, or organization looking for high-quality decorated apparel to outfit your students, staff, club, or team? Tired of the same old boring white t-shirt? Are you in charge of the upcoming fundraiser or special event but don't really have time to troll the internet for ideas or compare products? SAY can help with design and product selection. We can even assist with ideas on conducting an effective fundraising program. SAY can help you save time and get your message heard. So call 1-800-975-3156. SAY Marketing and Promotions.
Give your brand a voice.
If you're thinking about buying or selling real estate in the Southern California area, please contact Kevin Peete of RE/MAX Patriots. He will meet and exceed all of your needs. You can contact Kevin at 951-858-5942. That's 951-858-5942. Or you can email Kevin at kpsaleshomes@sbcglobal.net. That's KP, his initials, Kevin Peete, KP Sales Homes, all one word, at sbcglobal.net. Thanks again.
You want the best barbecue around? Smokee-O's coming to your town. Ribs, chopped beef, baked potatoes too. Smokee-O's know what's good for you. You want the best barbecue around? Smokee-O's coming to your town. Ribs, chopped beef, baked potatoes too. Smokee-O's know what's good for you. Smokee-O's, come check us out.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
All right, we are back. All right, we're back. Mess around to mute on my microphones. Appreciate all y'all listening. And I'll say, let me get this out the way. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or a patron to the Marching Podcast, please contact the show, and we'll give you the criteria so we can start to pub your business using our platform. We'll play your information. Here, let me go back to the other camera. You will play your information down there at the ticker down there at the bottom, down there. And then you just heard some of the commercials that we just played. So we will do all we can to put your business out there. Social media. All the tags, all the information when all these episodes go out, your information, your business information goes out with that episode. All right, so the more and more people Google who you are and keyword your stuff, these episodes will come up and they'll start helping you out with your hits as well. So hit us up and we will continue to promote who you are. All right, so we are now at the 5th. And we've kind of assessed how things went with the 0 and halftime. So I always wonder, like, when I see, like, if someone has a battle of the bands or for 0 or something, how long are they going to go in the 5th? Like, how long is they booked? How long is their conditioning? You know what I'm saying? This 5th was not that long. So, Rashad, I asked you, man, what did you think about the 5th between these two schools?
Okay, let's get into it. Maybe we also will have some time at the end to get into this interesting little conversation that's come up in the chat room about. Hold on, let me stop here. I'm sitting there. I'm watching the video of you doing whatever you're doing right here. It's distracting me, so let me not look at you no more. But yeah, we're having this interesting little conversation about SWAC bands doing step 2s versus MEAC bands using props and bands and things. So bands. So I got a lot of things to say about that. So maybe we'll get into it, maybe not. But as far as fifth quarter is concerned, Southern started with God Is a Woman. And I'll tell you that tempo was a major issue here. Like, it started at one tempo, and then as soon as the trombones and percussion came in, it sped up. And it kept getting faster. And it got to the point that when there was the mandatory tuba break, it almost seemed too fast for them to be playing. And then I asked this question, I think last week, or perhaps when they played against Jackson State, where there's a part in the melody of the trombones where half the trombones are split. And it was like, dapo, dapo, bapo, bapo. And I don't understand why they did that, because I don't hear her doing that in the song. Maybe she did and I missed it. I don't think there's a reason for them to split the part right there when it's a melodic part. Like, it's not something where you're echoing each other and things like that. It just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't make sense to me as a trombone player. Mellophones, y'all need to sustain those notes. What they're doing is they're hitting the notes, woo, and they fall off it just a little bit, and they can't do that. If you're not the scream trumpet player, you don't need to be kissing a note. You need to hit that note and stick on it, because it takes away from the overall sound. Alcorn responded with She's Fresh. Let me see. A great balance between the trumpets and the mellophones. Like, you could actually hear the trumpets. Perhaps the mellophones need to play with the trumpets all the time, because, I mean, you're just not hearing the trumpets otherwise. Maybe they need to do something where they're splitting up the mellophones. People ever think about that? Like, maybe take some of the mellophones and put them on those counter melodies and put the rest of them along with the trumpets, because you know that the trumpets are having a hard time. So make use of I think arrangers need to do a better job of making use of the instruments that they have. I think I may be missing some things, but I think too many arrangers are like, trumpets, you do this, mellophones, you do this, trombones, you do this, instead of, all right, half the mellophones or first mellophones, you do this, second mellophones, you do that, because I think that's what's causing the balance problems. I'm going to keep hammering this in. The trumpet should be it used to be the leader of the band, and arrangers are still arranging like it is the leader of the band, but melodies are getting destroyed because the trumpets can't keep up with all the huge numbers of low brass that we had. So you have to change what you're doing. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect something different. You got to change what you're doing. You got to split some of these instruments up so that the trumpets can come through. Southern, perhaps you might want to take some of those trombones and add them to the trumpet melody. That's a arranging secret for you. If you take trombones and put them with the trumpet melody, it won't change the timbre of the sound. If you add baritones to the trumpet melody, or mellophones to the trumpet melody, you're going to notice it. It'll sound different because they are very different sounding instruments. But the trombone is the big brother of the trumpet. So if you take your first trombones and allow them to double the trumpets at the octave, you will push that trumpet sound through, and it'll sound like trumpets. Just, that one's free. Everything else you got to pay for. Let me see. On that, She's Fresh, let me see here. Nice high note at the end by somebody. Mellophones held the note on that couple. I don't know what that means. Trombones were offensively out of tune on some places. Come on, trombones, get it together. Southern responded with Rainy Days, and both same thing. The rainy days. That's Mary J. Blige and Ja Rule. And both times, the trumpet melody was like gone. You just couldn't hear it. I could only pick it out just a tad bit. The baritone melody I could pick out, as it got higher. But when it was low, again, but trombones were just destroying that. The trombone chords are just too loud. When the mellophones had the verse, it was lost. And the trumpets are playing very, very well in this song, but they're barely cutting through. It was a really solid last note overall. But again, it was just too many trombones playing the chords against what was happening. And that's why when the song was over, the crowd was kind of like, okay. At least the people that I could see, maybe there's people behind the cameraman jumping and cheering and doing jumping jacks. But the people I saw were just like, okay, that happened. Like, it sounded good, but you just couldn't tell what it was. So we just need to rebalance that. Alcorn, let me see here. They need that. Whatever they played, they need to work on those cutoff on the last notes. The mellophones finally weren't too bad on here, but they did this thing where the trombones came in first, and then the mellophones came in, which was pretty good, and then the baritones and the trumpets came in together. And I wasn't even sure that the trumpets were playing. Like, it took me, the trumpets came in there too. Like, because again, the trumpets were getting destroyed. We need to work on this balance, guys. I'm gonna keep saying that. Southern played Understanding. At the beginning, it didn't really sound together. That happened a couple times. I didn't mention that. And I think it's just because everybody is basically looking at one person. Because I don't think the one drum major is there, but he's not really directing. Like, sometimes he's directing, but most of the time he's not. So you have this huge band all trying to focus in on one person. And I think that it's causing just minute delays in things. It's not that they're not together. They're just not as tight as they could be at some times, because you have all these people. Again, it's 44 trombones. 44 is a lot as it is. When you're having a band that's, 250 people probably all trying to focus in on one person, it kind of makes it hard for every attack to be extremely together. The mellophones played a note in there towards the beginning that just wasn't good. And let me see here. Not cry trumpets on chorus. I don't know what that means. I'm writing this stuff down fast. Very good verse by the baritones. Great job, baritones. Sounded really sweet, except for some of those glisses. It was kind of out of tune. But other than that, it sounded great. But it's not done right. Like, when they get to the verse, I try so very hard to put the together. The baritones have that, and then the trombones come in, and then it's supposed to be building, right? And the climax should be the chorus, right, Joe? But instead you come in with, there's no way we can work it out if we don't pull together. It's like, no, it's way too loud already. That you save that for the chorus. It didn't build right. It's like level 1 baritones, level 2 trombones, and then level 16 the whole rest of the band. Like, that really should have been more like a level 5 or something, so that when the whole band comes in with the chorus at level 16, it makes more musical sense. Let me see here.
Southern doesn't do that. Southern, they don't have those volume levels like that. That was something they tried, to be like musical, and they tried to be quiet, and they tried. No, Southern. I told you, fortissimo, cojones. That's all Southern knows. That's all they know. So I didn't see them.
We ought to be happy that we get 3 levels, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I did see them trying that. They tried to. Nah. Don't. You ain't got to worry about that, Southern. Just crank all the time, and then fury at the end.
Right. Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah. If y'all can do that, because to me, it really took away from the song because the chorus wasn't as strong as that melody. You know what I mean? So it made the chorus anticlimactic. The last song that was played was Torture. And that was a fantastic, great first note. I thought the trumpets were a little shrill on the chorus, but at least I could hear them. Very nice ending. I think Torture was the best thing I heard all day. Like, it sounded amazing. It was very full sound, really good articulations overall, really a lot of depth. The balance was pretty decent throughout the song. So Torture, they unlike during the halftime show, they definitely put the exclamation point on the end of the fifth quarter. Southern, no doubt. So across the board, Southern 0 quarter, Southern halftime, Southern fifth quarter. I heard rumor that apparently Alcorn dug into Southern earlier this year, and I'm going to tell you, I just don't believe it. Not based off what I heard today. I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second.
Or they were not showing up for it. You know what I mean? I mean, that could have been. I mean, they just didn't feel like, oh, it's just Alcorn. We'll do the at minimum most, and we should be fine. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking that they were. That's how they were thinking. As far as when I saw the fifth, I think you named the song. I wasn't sure how Southern started the fifth, but Southern played more songs. And that was the point. They played songs. Alcorn tried to come with more tuba breaks, and that was already where I was like, okay, Alcorn, like, you had to take an L. You done did all of that in the 0 quarter. You pushed that line way over in the 0 quarter. So now let me hear your book. Let me hear you play a song with got an intro, a middle, a bridge, and an ending. Like, let me hear the whole thing. And they didn't really do that. The part where Alcorn did respond with She's Fresh, Exciting, whatever the name of the song is, I didn't really like how they put, and I guess that's the arrangement, but I don't like how they put the hook together. Like, there was no she's. So, like, in the song, it's like, she's fresh,
right,
exciting. There was no she's in that song. If you actually go back and listen to it, there was just like, exciting, like there was no she's fresh, like it was no she's in there. You got to check it out.
Okay. I will.
But yeah, I didn't see that part, so I guess that's the arranging. So I didn't really like that. And then again, the main thing you already brought up, Southern just had unnecessary tuba breaks in the fifth, and then it would be like towards the end, where it was like, that was totally unnecessary. Like, you could have literally cut that out and then cut the song off earlier. You know what I mean? So, I was surprised at that. But then it just seemed like Alcorn was only there for those first 3 songs, so to speak, and then it looks like that they left. I have to say, man, SU, that understanding, I said it last week, I do not like how that sounds. I just don't. Some things got to have the vibe. Some things stick. It's kind of like how we talk about FAM or Tennessee State made a car on the field. You might hear it and be like, oh, that was dope. And then you see it, and then it's like, oh, that wasn't all that. That's how I feel about some of these songs, Rashad. Like, it's like the excitement that you playing something on the radio, or it's excitement that you playing something. But sometimes it don't sound right. It don't fit the vibe. And that understanding, for me, does not fit a vibe at all with Southern. I feel like it's too much. It's too much going on, and it doesn't really sound like the song to me. So when they opened up and played it, I was just like, like I don't know. There's a couple of songs with Southern like that, like where they're putting their little spin on it, their little flavor, and it don't really fit the vibe of the song for me. Even though it's loud and thunderous, I just don't like that understanding for me. But yeah, other than that, that was pretty much it. Alcorn had like taken enough, and they were out. So it was really, really short. So I felt that Southern again had the fifth. Other than outside of the musicality, I just felt like I think Alcorn should be playing more. Alcorn sounded good this year. So there's no reason for me that they not playing full songs and they doing so many rap tunes getting crunk all the time. Like, it's a time for it, like the 0 quarters that time, but you got to show me your book after that. You know what I'm saying? Play from the beginning to the end. Keep your horns on your mouth from the beginning to the end of the song. You know what I'm saying? And I just didn't see that enough from Alcorn. That was the biggest thing for me. All right. So it looks like we agreed for the most part. Like I said, I still was kind of if or about the halftime, but I think we all agreed. Shout out again to all the folks in the chat room. So next, before we close out the show, and definitely you guys in the chat room as well. Real quick, we'll be doing this show. We'll be talking about the Celebration Bowl, and then more than likely we'll probably do one more show. Probably doing the final list that the Undefeated put out, and then that'll be in for the end of the season. And then, like I said, we'll go into the chopping it up. So you guys in the chat room, you guys, when we start doing the chopping it up, it'll be an interview just like what you see here with Rashad and I'll be talking to someone live. And if you guys there in turn have questions to ask the person there, just hit them in the chat room and we'll be doing that there. So just a little program announcement there when we do the transition into chopping it up later on this month. All right. So we paid all the bills. This is the closing part. Rashad, I want to ask you, we have the Celebration Bowl now set. This is going to crown our football HBCU national champion, and it's a really good band matchup too. What do you think is going to happen with the matchup of I'm about to say Human Jukebox. No, with Sounds of Dynamite and the Blue and Gold Marching Machine. What you think is going to happen, man?
So if A&T prepares for their show like they were going to prepare for Southern, it'll be a blowout. It'll be a blowout. What would be hilarious to me is if A&T went first and they did a women's empowerment show or something like that, or made Me Too on the field or something like that, and then Alcorn did the same routine at the end. They would get booed or something. You'd be like, hold on, what y'all doing? You know, like when your child does something and then they realize what they did was bad. Or like when your dog does something, your dog be like,
you're right.
And they like, wow, Alcorn, y'all, wow. So let's hope that Alcorn doesn't go around pushing women on the ground anymore. Hopefully they get that out of their system. But yes, if A&T prepares like they did against Southern, it'll be a blowout. That's not to say that Alcorn could not take it. Again, A&T cannot sleep on Alcorn because any band can win. If they're exciting, you know what I mean? If they go out there and they do an exciting show, Alcorn is no slouch. Like the game against Jackson State, like I thought their drill was very good. I just thought Jackson State's drill was better, you know, but Alcorn is no slouch this year, you know, so they could easily take your, if you are slacking, they could easily take your crowd. And they can come up with something in the dance. We've seen that their dancer teams are versatile. You know, this week they did do the thing where they had, you know, the band didn't dance and they had 6 people dancing. But last week they did something completely different. They did a full dancer team and then they spelled Alcorn on the field. So we know they're versatile when it comes to that. So we don't know what they're going to do next week. So they could potentially win it. But my money is definitely going to be on A&T.
For the halftime. Now, what about either a 0 or a fifth quarter? What do you think about that?
I'm going to give that to A&T all across the board. I think A&T is a much better sounding band. You know, when you're talking about, again, Southern, with them being so huge and being pretty articulate, and they do some good things, you know. Southern would have took the fifth there, but in this situation, I think A&T, particularly seeing them match up against Norfolk a few weeks ago, regardless of who you thought was the better band, I think you can say that A&T did a very good job as it pertains to that battle of the bands. And so I think they're going to do a much better job against Alcorn State. I just don't think that Alcorn can play against them. I don't think there's just too much articulation problems, too many intonation problems, not enough consistency as far as the high notes are concerned. So I'm going to give that to A&T all across the board.
Yeah, one thing about Alcorn, and I always joke about them trying to be like other bands, but they do sound good. They have their flashes of brilliance, but it's then like through, like you said, it's the consistency all the way through the end. Alcorn struggles with that. I feel like Alabama State is like that. Like they can be dope one measure, and then in the next measure, it's just like, did you hear that? Like it's just something that was just jumped out, you know. So that's the part, the consistency. I feel this gonna trip Alcorn up, like in the stands or in the zero quarter. Like, please don't be throwing all that dancing at A&T, Alcorn, because it's not like A&T is just so crunk in the stands. But I think they were already preparing for Southern too. So it was like, you know how Southern was already like, man, we kind of waiting until next week. I think A&T, being as smart as they are, they was like, all right, well, we need to get our book together. So they spent some extra days in that room practicing some stuff for the stands. I'm sure if they were smart. So I think that they're already gonna come with it to a certain degree in preparation for Southern. Now Alcorn, like you said, it's not like they're a slouch or they can't get slept on or they can't win, but they gonna have to clean up and prune and fine tune a lot of the stuff. Because for me, the halftime show is they gonna get whacked. Somebody said in the chat room, Alcorn, A1 Story say A1 gets what? Yeah. Alcorn is going to get waxed in the halftime show. I mean, it's not going to be close at all. And I'll be the first one to say if I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? But, nah, man, not no A&T. You know what I'm saying? Alcorn ain't ready to come up with nothing. And I promise you, Rashad, if they come up with Jesus or something, man, Alcorn will then have to deal with some infractions that will go incur next year. All right. So that's what happens. So if they mess around and do that, what was going to happen is the first 3 games, the first 2 games, it might be up for appeal. The first 2 games of next year, they are not allowed to play in the zero quarter, and they have to stay. And the other band just gets to just all day, and they have to stand and take it for 2 games. So Alcorn, you are on notice. Don't be going in there all that dancing against A&T, because your infraction will hit and it will take penalty next season.
Joe, maybe you can set it so they can play during the zero quarter, but they have to play marches all zero quarter. They can't play anything else. They have to earn their way back.
That's how you win. That's a good point. You need to then go back to the basics. So you have to then play all marches, even though that's how you can win a 5th or a 0. You then have to play like 4 marches to start to start the season. That's excellent, Rashad. That's a nice little point of that. You know what I'm saying? This is important. So Alcorn, just show up, Alcorn, because us SWAC folks, we rooting on y'all. We scared. But we rooting on y'all. Come on, Alcorn. Show up for us now. All right. Shout out again to the people in the chat room. Some interesting things. Unstoppable 25 said that JSU should just replace Alcorn for the band competition. So that's a good applause.
And that's doable, because if you think about it, Jackson State was supposed to go to the Honda this year, right? Was it this year?
I think so. Yeah, we were supposed to.
And then Alcorn State replaced them because Jackson didn't want to go. So they've got a replacement in the hole.
That's right, a replacement in the hole. And remember, when you mess up, remember in the Battle of the Bands, you mess up or you sing or you do some ignorance like Grambling talking about, you have some church up in here. Remember, we got another band waiting in the back for you to be perused off. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then the other band come in. So that's a good idea. Shout out to Unstoppable 25. That's an excellent idea. I had to, text some folks down in Jackson, see if they can get on a plane or something.
Joe, Alcorn also has another thing. Just like when we're watching we're watching football and things, and somebody gets injured. Unfortunately, that is a part of the game. You know what I mean? This team could definitely beat this team, but wait a second, this person get injured. Alcorn State, actually, I think they did a very good job based on despite the fact that they no longer have a band director. I don't know the full reason. I've heard some things. I haven't heard like it's girls, anything like that. Thank God. Or boys, thank God, anything like that. But as far as I understand, they don't have a band director right now, which means that they're going to a game against probably the most prepared band in the nation.
without a coach.
Without a band director.
Right, without a band director, right. Wow, that's gonna be interesting. And I'm glad you said that. I didn't know whether to bring it up or not, but there have been a couple band director stuff throughout the year, man. And it's not just in one place, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Which is crazy. But I know that I've always tried to talk about news and stuff like that on the show, but we just don't have the time. But we will probably hit on that and touch on that anywhere. But someone, I think the very first person who started the chat, one of the first people that was in here, told us about the sound. That was the first thing they asked. It was like, "What? Y'all know something about the band director?" And I was like, "I don't know. That's a good question." And nobody else said anything about it, so it might be on the raps too. I heard the same thing about another band in the SWAC that we talked about. This got blue and black and gold. And I guess I'm giving it away. But they got a new band director this year. Grambling. Grambling's got a new band director, right, this year?
Oh, yeah.
And I heard, like, stuff about why they have her. You say what now?
They're red, black, and gold.
Red, black, and gold. What? Yeah, I said just black and gold. But
you said blue, black, and gold.
Did I?
Yeah.
That was an accident. But yeah, man, I heard we always hear stuff. So, hopefully it's all good and nothing bad is happening. That's all we want to say. All right. Rashad, anything that you want to say before we close out the podcast? Anything going on with color commentary? Anything going on with Block Band Music and Publishing? Anything else going on for you going on this week, man?
All right. So, again, it's the end of the year, and I always, as we get ready to go into the next year, we always prepare with our Hot 5. And so be on the lookout for that. There's 5 songs that you can pick up for just $85. They're always great arrangements. So just be on the lookout for that. Check your emails, check Facebook, Instagram, whatever that you're looking at. We'll have our music out there for you. As far as color commentary is concerned, so we're continuing to check out the great videos. We just did a review on Ralph Breaks the Internet. And we also did a review on the new TV show, Titans, which is based off of the same superhero team as Teen Titans. It's the same team, just grown up, and they're cussing a lot, and they're having sex with each other. So don't let your kids watch. And we're changing how we're doing things. What we're doing now is that we're doing a full show just like this one on Sundays. But then what we're doing is, since we're talking about multiple topics, we're going back and we're chopping it up. And we are... into smaller segments. So if you don't have time to watch like a whole 45-minute video, maybe you have time to watch like a 75-minute video on one particular thing. So check us out, Color Commentary, on Facebook and YouTube.
That's cool, man. That's cool. That's totally what's up. So let me ask you about the Teen Titans now, because my kids love that show. And if you ever watch the cartoon, it's hilarious. It's funny.
Yes.
Where's this new show? What channel is that coming on? I'm about to check that out.
So it's not on TV, not on regular TV. It's like DC has its own streaming channel. DC as in DC Comics.
Oh.
So so you had to pay extra money for it. You can, however, like me, go to one of the many different variations of 1, 2, 3 movies or Go Movies or something, and it's there, and you can watch it there. Okay. But again, it is definitely for adults. It is not for children. So
yeah.
Don't even let your children know that this. Starfire ain't. She's not nice and gullible, and Robin is literally throwing stars at people's eyes.
Wow.
So yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. Also, too, I want to ask you, because I thought about you the other day. have you checked out the All-American on the CW? Is that something you guys are going to check out and do on your show?
No, what's that?
The All-American is with Taye Diggs. And Taye Diggs is the high school football coach at Beverly Hills High School. And he gets a student from Crenshaw High School, black guy, to come to his team and be on the team to make Beverly Hills successful. And then, of course, it's going through all the social interactions with being from Crenshaw and then moving to Beverly Hills. Taye Diggs has a white wife in there, and she's a lawyer, so there's a whole thing about as far as him and where he came from and where you get to make it and all that stuff. It's pretty interesting. So I know that you checked out Black Lightning, so check out All American. I'm interested to see what you think about that, man. Okay, yeah, it's on the CW. It's right there next to Black Lightning. But yeah, as for me, nothing really going on with me. The kids getting ready for all of these weeks off school. You know how kids nowadays have way more time off school than we did. So I'm just preparing to, have them at home like a week or two or whatever, or sending them off somewhere. And then, again, preparing for Chopping It Up. So like I said, Chopping It Up, we'll be interviewing someone just like you see Rashad there. And if you're in the chat room, we'll go ahead and give some time for the chat room for people to ask their questions to our guests. And then, again, National Signing Day for marching bands this year. We're doing it now live with Angela Dandridge. And we won't tell you where she went to school. We'll still do everything just like we normally do. But we're now live video streaming here on YouTube at the Marching Podcast. So this is how we're going to do things. And our director series, don't forget about that. We've actually in the work talking to a couple of directors to do that next year. And that'll be just like what you see here. And it might be with a director and Rashad. So stuff happening here. Hit the subscribe on YouTube. Shout out to all the HBCU videographers. We love what you do. We appreciate you. Shout out to all the people listening. Shout out to Bridget Ernest and everybody around. We appreciate all the love and support. All right. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or a patron to the Marching Podcast, contact the show and we'll give you the criteria so we can start to pub your business using our platform. We're coming to the end of our show. Check out the website and donate what's in your heart to themarchingpodcast.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Thanks to you for listening. And remember, the lectures you deliver may be very fine and true, but I'd rather get my lesson in observing what you do. See you next time.
And that's it for the 90 Degree Show for this week. Tune in next week with Joe Beard, where the marching band battles continue.